Hey there, amazing educators. Welcome back to Schoolutions Teaching Strategies Summer Series. Let me paint a picture that might sound painfully familiar. It's October, you're 3 weeks into your ecosystems unit, and you suddenly think, you know what would make this come alive? A field trip to the nature center. So you frantically start making calls only to discover they're booked solid until December. Or you realize your social studies unit on local government would be perfect for a city council member visit, but you have no idea how to even begin reaching out to someone like that. Sound familiar? Yes, we've all been there. Great ideas hitting at the worst possible timing. Here's the thing. September hits like a freight train every single year. Between setting up your classroom, learning your new students' names, establishing routines, and just surviving those first few weeks, the last thing you want to worry about is scrambling to find that perfect real world experience to complement your lessons. But what if I told you that spending just a few focused hours this summer could transform your entire teaching year? What if you could be the teacher who seamlessly integrates authentic experiences that make students' eyes light up because they know adventure awaits? Today, I'm diving into one of the smartest investments you can make with your summer break time, developing a robust network of field trips and guest speakers for September and beyond. And before you start thinking, great, more work during my summer vacation, hear me out. This isn't about working through your summer. It's about setting yourself up for a more engaging, less stressful teaching year. I'm talking about thinking beyond the obvious museum trips to discover hidden gems in your community. You can turn your students' families into your secret weapon for finding expert speakers and build relationships that become long term educational partnerships rather than one time transactions. When you have these resources mapped out and ready to go, something magical happens. Your lessons become more dynamic because they're connected to real world experiences. Students have authentic audiences and engage differently when they know that their learning extends beyond the textbook. And you transform from reactive to proactive, from stressed to prepared. So grab your curriculum guide and let's talk about how a little summer planning creates a lot of classroom magic. This is Schoolutions Teaching Strategies, the podcast that extends education beyond the classroom. A show that isn't just theory, but practical, try it tomorrow approaches for educators and caregivers to ensure every student finds their spark and receives the support they need to thrive. Welcome back to Schoolutions Teaching Strategies Summer Series. This is the podcast where we tackle the practical side of education. I'm your host, Olivia Wall, and today we're diving into one of the smartest investments you can make with your summer break time, developing a robust list of potential field trips and guest speakers for September and beyond. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's summer. I just want to recharge. And you absolutely should. But spending just a few focused hours this summer creating these connections can transform your teaching year. Let's explore how to build this invaluable resource without burning out your well-deserved break. Here's the reality. September hits like a freight train. We know this. Between setting up your classroom, learning new students' names, and establishing routines, the last thing you want to worry about is scrambling to find that perfect field trip to complement your October science unit or tracking down a community expert who can bring your social studies lessons to life. But when you've done the groundwork over the summer, you become the teacher who seamlessly integrates real-world experiences into learning. Your students get excited because they now have relevant audiences and they know adventure awaits. Your administrators notice because your lessons pop with authenticity. And you feel confident because you're not winging it. So before you start making calls or browsing websites, make sure to grab your curriculum standards and yearly overview because this is going to be a roadmap. Ask yourself first, What are the big concepts I need to teach? Where do my students typically struggle? What units would come alive with hands on experiences? For example, if you're teaching about local government in fourth grade, that's a perfect opportunity for a city hall visit or inviting a city council member in to speak. Make a simple chart, list your major units in one column, potential field trip destinations in another, and possible guest speakers in a third. Don't worry about details yet, just brainstorm connections. Let's talk field trips first. The key is thinking beyond the obvious choices. Yes, the Science Museum is fantastic, but what about the local water treatment plant, the courthouse, a working farm? Sometimes the most impactful experiences happen in places students never imagined they'd learn. Start local. What businesses, organizations, and institutions are within an hour of your school? Libraries often have special programs. Fire departments love hosting students. Historical societies are treasure troves of primary sources. And senior centers can connect students with living history. Here's your summer action plan for field trips. Create a digital folder. I like to use a Google Doc or a simple spreadsheet. For each potential destination, note the contact information, best contact person, if you can find one, what curriculum standards it aligns with, and any special requirements like group size limits or advanced booking needs. Don't forget virtual options, too. Many museums and organizations now offer virtual field trips that can be just as engaging and far more accessible. For example, the Smithsonian, NASA, and countless other institutions have developed incredible online experiences. And let's talk about building your guest speaker network. Guest speakers can be even more powerful than field trips because they bring expertise directly into your classroom. The trick is casting a wide net and thinking creatively about who qualifies as an expert. Your students' families are your first gold mine. Send home a simple survey in August asking about caregivers' careers, hobbies, travel experiences, or special skills. You might discover that Emma's mom is a marine biologist, or that Tyler's dad restores vintage cars, or that Sarah's grandmother lived through significant historical events. But don't stop there. Reach out to your local college or university. Graduate students and professors often welcome opportunities to share their research with younger audiences. You can also contact professional organizations in your area, like the local medical association, engineering society, or artist guild. Many professionals have outreach goals and would love to inspire the next generation. Community organizations are also fantastic resources. Veterans groups can provide firsthand historical perspectives. Environmental organizations can speak to conservation. Cultural centers can share traditions and customs that textbooks can't capture. Here's a pro tip. When you do find great speakers, ask them for referrals. People in similar fields often know each other, and a warm introduction beats the cold call every time. Now, you might be wondering, should I actually contact these people over the summer? And I will say the answer is nuanced. For field trips, summer's often perfect timing. Many destinations are planning their educational programs for the new school year, and so getting on their calendar early means better dates and availability. For guest speakers, though, I'd recommend a softer approach during the summer. Instead of asking for specific commitments, introduce yourself and just express interest in having them visit your classroom sometime during the year. Then the seed is planted without pressuring anyone during vacation time. You could create template emails that you can customize as well. Something like, "Hello, I'm a fifth grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary, and I'm always looking for ways to bring real world expertise into my classroom. I noticed your work in environmental science aligns beautifully with our ecosystems unit. Would you be interested in discussing a possible classroom visit sometime this school year?" Keep it brief, enthusiastic, and flexible. Many people appreciate the advance notice and will get back to you when their schedules settle in the fall. As you build these lists, organization becomes crucial. Again, I recommend creating a master document with several tabs or sections. First, your curriculum alignment chart, showing which units connect to which experiences. Second, your complete field trip database with all of the practical details. Third, your guest speaker contacts organized by topic or expertise area. Fourth, a calendar noting any seasonal considerations, like when the butterfly exhibit opens or when the local farm offers harvest tours. Don't forget to include backup options as well. Sometimes field trips get canceled due to weather or scheduling conflicts. Having alternatives really saves you from scrambling. I also always noted costs, transportation needs, or permission slip requirements. Future you will thank present you for these details when you're trying to plan logistics in the middle of a busy school year. And here's something many teachers miss: these relationships aren't just one and done transactions. The local historian who visits your classroom might also know about relevant community events. The scientist who demonstrates experiments might be willing to judge your science fair. The artist who teaches a workshop might display student work in their gallery. Think relationship building, not just resource gathering. I always make sure to follow up after visits with thank you notes that include student feedback. I try to share photos if appropriate. It's so important to update speakers on how their visit impacted student learning. And these gestures turn one-time visitors into long-term educational partners. You could consider creating a simple feedback form for after each experience. You could ask questions like, what worked well? What would you change? How did students respond? This information makes future planning more effective and shows your professionalism to potential partners. So let's talk budget and logistics considerations. You have to be practical about costs. Many amazing educational experiences are free. Government buildings, public parks, community organizations often welcome student groups at no charge. For experiences that do cost money, start researching grants and funding options now. Your PTA might have education funds available. Local businesses sometimes sponsor educational activities. State education departments often offer mini grants for innovative teaching approaches. Having this funding landscape mapped out before September will put you ahead of the game. Also consider timing and logistics. Some experiences work better at certain times of year. Fall might be perfect for nature-based trips, while winter could be ideal for indoor cultural experiences. And don't forget to think about your school's testing schedule, holiday breaks, and other calendar considerations. All right, let's make this concrete. Here's your summer action plan. First, create your curriculum alignment chart and brainstorm potential connections. Next, research local field trip destinations and start your database. After that, identify potential guest speakers and begin crafting outreach emails. Next, send initial contact emails and explore funding options. Don't try to do everything at once. Let yourself spread it across your summer break. Maybe dedicate a half hour each week. This will keep it manageable and prevent it from being overwhelming. Remember, you're not committing to using every resource you identify. You're building a toolkit that gives you options and flexibility throughout the year. Some opportunities might not work out, and that's perfectly fine. Having alternatives means you're never stuck. I'll say it again. Here's what happens when you invest this time up front. September arrives and you're not just ready, you're excited. When your principal asks about enrichment activities, you have answers. When your students ask about guest speakers or field trips for the year, you can answer with confidence. Your lessons will become more dynamic because they're connected to real-world experiences. They're relevant. My students engaged so much differently when they knew learning extended beyond the textbooks. Caregivers always appreciated the effort I put into creating meaningful experiences for their children, and I felt more professional and prepared. Plus, once you build this foundation, maintaining it becomes much easier. Each year, you'll add new contacts, refine your approaches, and build stronger community connections. This summer's work becomes an investment that pays dividends for years to come. So I will wrap the episode with this. Building your field trip and guest speaker network over the summer isn't about working through your vacation. It's about setting yourself up for a more engaging, less stressful teaching year. When you have these resources ready, you transform from reactive to proactive, from stressed to prepared. Remember, you don't need to create the perfect system immediately. Start small, think local, and focus on quality over quantity. A few strong connections that align well with your curriculum are far more valuable than a massive list you'll never use. Your students deserve experiences that make learning memorable and meaningful. Your summer planning makes that possible while keeping your sanity intact come September. Thank you for joining me today for this tip episode. Until next time, keep enjoying your summer break. You've earned it. And remember, a little planning now creates a lot of magic later. Take care. Schoolutions Teaching Strategies is created, produced, and edited by me, Olivia Wall. Thank you to my older son, Benjamin, who created the music playing in the background. You can follow and listen to Schoolutions wherever you get your podcasts, or subscribe to never miss an episode and watch on YouTube. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email at schoolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Let me know your favorite field trips that you love to go on, as well as guest speakers that you've found really resonate with your students. Make sure to tune in every Monday and Friday this summer for mini episodes filled with the tips and ideas that will help you prepare for September while still resting and rejuvenating this summer. See you soon for another tip, and until then, enjoy the sunshine and take care.